This week's scenario is Outlast from the 2017 Steamroller packet. This scenario does have the Killbox Artifice in effect and consists of 2 circular zones which can be controlled for 1 CP by warrior units, warcasters, and warlocks, and 2 flags which can be controlled for 1 CP by solos, warcasters, and warlocks. Victory conditions consist of earning 5 more control points than your opponent or caster assassination.
Hello everyone, this is Gaston, and today we're playing Epic Reznik and Protectorate of Menoth. The concept behind choosing this list into this particular matchup was I wanted to redeem myself for clocking out my last game, but also I thought that Flesher's Weak would be particularly amusing against Trollbloods, particularly as he has this large beast brick, lots of good targets for it. Additionally, there's a nice little igloo in the middle of the table that'll make it very easy for Reznik hopefully to hide behind, and that'll help me out a lot as well. I'm definitely very concerned about the threat ranges in his list. He's got a lot of armor cracking, so it's going to be a very difficult matchup, I think, for me. With, you know, I have kind of minimal jacks compared to the number of his beasts that he's bringing to the table here.
Hey everybody, CutThroatCure here, bringing along the Krampus of Christmas, Doomie2. So in the scramble, between my 2 lists, I had Doomie2 and Borka 1, and I did not have this list fully painted up until this point. As you'll notice that my one Mauler, he has a much different scheme than the rest of my army, which is something I'm bringing into it. But otherwise, in this army, I brought Power of Dhunia for the main reason that I know that Reznik likes to blow shit up. And I figured that he would have a much harder time blowing up, you know, say a Mountain King and an Earthborn and a Mauler and such than he would maybe going into my Band of Heroes army. So I know I was a little bit worried about this army coming into it because I knew that it was a real heavy hitter, and I was hoping that I would just be too hard and hardy to hit.
So as with all good turn 1s, it involves running forward as fast as you can. There's really not much in the way of strategy here, just to kind of, I like to say, get a real estate grab. That's going to be very similar here. The things that you do need to do with this list, obviously, you want to put up Tristan's spell, whatever it's called, on the Redeemer, just to give it a little extra armor. Since that Redeemer, he's going up head-to-head against that Mountain King. He's gonna take that guy out. I've got a good feeling about this. Otherwise, you're just kind of running everything. The other things to keep an eye out is one of the things that his list does like to do is he likes to have the High POW 17 Primal Shock off of the Mountain King. So I want to make sure that I'm keeping the Scourge of Heresy close to Reznik, within 3 inches of him, so that way I can kind of cancel those out. Other things that I like to do during this game is bump the camera, so sorry about that. That's wholly on me. Otherwise, we just have, the choirs running, they're kind of filling in the back. I went ahead, and the way I arranged my battle group was such that he has kind of the Mountain King is gonna... You have to make a choice when you've got a huge base and when you have something like a house kind of blocking the middle, so he chose the upper half there. So I'm hoping that that Templar and Reznik will be enough to kind of handle that side. I'm going to try to whittle him down a little bit with the Redeemer. That's an actual plan, I swear. Otherwise, I have the 2 jacks to kind of go against his 3 heavies on the other side of the table.
So going into my first turn, one of the major things that I noticed and why I chose the side that I did was, we have the giant obstruction of an igloo right in the middle between the 2 flags. And my side had this nice little wall on it. So I figured I could always use that as a good way to give Doomie or whatever else I needed a little bit of defense wherever need be. I also was trying to set up some really interesting charge lanes So you can see that I put the Earthborn into the forest just because I wanted to get the speed boost and figured that if I sit in the forest, if he brings up Reznik to either side of the igloo, then I have probably a charge angle on him and hopefully can do enough damage to kill him or at least keep Gaston honest. So I moved the Mountain King up to the left side of the igloo because, as I said, I'm trying to give him the old 1-2 punch, and I'm trying to make Gaston make decisions on what he is going to handle. So if he tries to go to the top of the board, then he's got to deal with the Mountain King and a Mauler. If he goes to the bottom of the board, he's got to deal with an Earthborn and a Mauler. And I was hopeful that, maybe he would stay put, and with my speed and stuff, I would be able to, really drive into his army and take out a few of his heavies. I was also really excited because with this igloo here, as you see now, I was able to put my stone right behind it and knew that I would get plenty of coverage while also protecting myself from guns and the like. And that was a major focus of me. I was trying to make sure that if Gaston wanted to take out my stone, he was going to work for it.
So he did exactly what I said everyone should do in turn 1, which is run everything forward. Figure. Now we're doing the pre-measuring bonanza, trying to figure out where in the world that Mountain King can get to. The reason for this is that Reznik's going to come up, he is going to hit the Mountain King with Lamentation, and then he is going to hit the, what is that, Mauler? Looks like a Mauler, it's probably a Mauler. He's going to hit the Mauler with Lamentation, and that'll probably get the other Mauler and the Bouncer. Then the 4-inch AoE. So the key to that is that then I can reposition back 3 inches, and I want to make sure that I'm not in range of any of the BCs getting to me. So I came into this was played very late on a Friday, and that is my flag, and Reznik is on that flag, and Reznik is not leaving that flag. That is my determination in this game. So the most astute observer will notice that that leaves him in charge range of the Earthborn Dire Troll. And that is not the smartest play in the world. But I've mapped all this out in my mind brain, and what I'm anticipating is Doomshaper is going to come. He's going to put Fortune on the Earthborn. He's going to try to put 2 Primal Shocks onto Reznik, which I'll then be able to cancel with the 2 Focus that I put on Scourge. Then the Mountain King will come in. He'll probably be able to get a kill shot and spray Reznik. You can't really show guard it, and Lamentations isn't really going to stop it because you can just target whatever he wants to do behind Reznik. So you take the hit from that. Then I'm going to use the Covenant to try to block off the Earthborn's charge lane. So the Earthborn's going to come in and take 5 swings to kill the Covenant, or 4 if the kill shot hits the Covenant as well. At which point I think he'll have 1 or 2. He'll have 2 swings left on Reznik. So if you think about all that, you'll realize that that is a really bad plan to survive. And the key takeaway from this is that that is my flag, except for this case it should have been the Mechanic's flag. So, oopsie daisies. I am not keeping any focus, so go figure. The other thing I did do this turn, however, that was really helpful, is I popped my feat. Reznik's feat is an anti-infantry feat, so there's not a lot of infantry in his list if you're kind of looking at that. It's very unfortunate for me. But what he does have is very important to both me and him, which is the Krielstone unit. So the Quari's going to move up, they're going to champ battle, and then my Redeemer of the Year is going to go try to bag him some Krielstone. And he's going to fire on off, he's going to boost that first hit, he's going to get it, he's going to get a kill, and that dude is going to blow up all over that unit. It's going to be glorious, because then you get the blast damage effects as well, you get the secondary boom from the feat, and it is going to wipe out, I think, 5 out of the 7 in the unit, just all on his own. Very, very proud of him. And there we go with the feat, and it's just kind of blowing up on everybody. I don't think that you can self-sack the stone off of my feat attack, but I don't think it mattered either because they all just died. So after that, unfortunately, everything else is out of line of sight to my poor little Redeemer. So he's just gonna keep himself happy by shooting the Mountain King, boosting some damage, and just kind of knocking a few health off of it to hopefully make my next turn a little bit easier, if indeed I should survive. After that, part 2 of my nefarious plan is the Vessel of Acceptance. It's going to move on forward. making sure I'm out of walking and swinging range of both Doomshaper's feet and the Mountain King's reach. He's just going to pop the Mountain King. All those attacks arc, and they just happen to arc back into the poor Krielstone unit. And at the end of this activation, the Krielstone unit will no longer be with us. So that is a great feat turn. I'm very happy about that. It just perfect scalping out of a very important unit in Trolls. So that kind of takes care of the top half of the table. Moving down to the bottom half, we're looking to do Enliven on both of my Templar and the Scourge of Heresy. That's in case the Earthborn does not come in and attack on Reznik. I don't want to, give up a free heavy, if I can at all avoid it. And then what we're going to do is take the Covenant, and he's going to move on up, and he's going to foul up the Earthborn's charge lane. So this was communicated with my opponent, and it's a very good thing that we communicated this all out, because the positioning chosen was not the greatest. Realistically, the better place to do is, when you see where the Covenant ends up, is just kind of scoot him closer to Reznik. It was, we pre-measured it out, so he's out of walk and attack range of the other two heavies. He's not going to be able to be targeted by spells because he has, spell shroud, whatever it's called. And he's going to move there. So this is where the kind of a lot of debates. We over-communicated, which kind of kept it from being a big issue. But realistically, if you just kind of scoot him, an inch and a half closer to Reznik, it becomes not a debate at all. That's just entirely retired.
So everything about that turn hurts my soul. So I use the Igloo to provide myself cover for my stone to try and keep it safe. And Reznik was able to basically throw one of his blasts onto, basically drifted onto one of my guys and blow them up. And because they blew up, then it ended up taking almost my entire stone unit away from me. Which sucks because right there goes two important things. I just lost my +2 to my armor, and I also lost my strength boost. So that was unfortunate. Also, you'll notice that I wasn't, while I was bricking up to make sure that Doomy was safe, I didn't count on the fact that he was going to be able to clip 3 of my beasts with his basically anti-charging spell, and that's going to cause a lot of issues because of the fact that now I am stuck with a speed impediment that I wasn't really prepared for, and that's a little bit rougher for me. He put the book out. There's one thing I have to say about Gaston is that he's such a good player, and he's really precise, and he's really able to plan out his turns, very far in advance. So the fact that I'm doing as well as I am so far against him is, after my lapse in being able to play, says a little bit something and made me a little bit happier. That said, he was really putting things in the way that were creating, a lot of difficulties in my charging vectors that I wasn't counting on, mainly like the speed decrease and the inability to basically charge. So with the Mountain King, I was really hoping to, if I could just keep him in there and I could keep forcing my original idea and not deviate from the plan. I really wanted to keep pushing the idea that he has to make a decision. Also, I wanted to get the Mountain King close enough to possibly push Reznik down as far as possible, with some of my spells and the abilities to do that, because this is Warmachine Hordes, and as long as I can kill his caster, I win the game, right? So right here, I'm having to make some important decisions in general because, with my beasts all locked down with themselves, that was just going to cause a lot of issues. Not to mention the fact that while I'm close enough to the flag, I'm worried after seeing what he was able to do with his explosions and stuff about moving Doomy out there. So I know during this part that I was really making a hard push onto Reznik, and I was able to get some damage boxes done. I figured anything I could throw down and do would be beneficial, And here you can see, like, I took out his one smaller light jack in order to get my spray in to do some damage. It sucks because I wasn't able to get my second spray in due to the anti-charge, so therefore I couldn't proc the assault, but at least I had kill shot to help out a little bit. So I put some early damage onto Gaston and, you know, wanted to kind of create this idea that, you know, if Reznik wasn't careful, I was going to keep throwing these heavy hitting shots into him and possibly do some damage. Another thing I probably should have done, and I noticed it at this point, was that I had the... I'm trying to remember what that was that I just moved over there. Oh, I had the... I ran my whelp over behind the Earthborn, and I really should have kept it behind one of the Maulers, for the fact that I could remove Fury after, you know, proccing Rage, just to make sure that I didn't Frenzy in a following turn. It didn't end up happening, so I kind of messed myself over with Order of Activation, which was kind of unfortunate right there, and I knew that after I had realized that I did that. So, you know, I'm basically at this point just kind of working on everything. So, I'm focusing on mainly trying to keep myself up. I figure I have enough damage boxes and I have enough life in general that hopefully I am able to survive a turn or two, and with doing all this damage to Reznik, I should be okay. Now, as you can see here, there was a little bit of confusion when we came into this part. Gaston had made it very aware that he was trying to create, to use the book in a way that he was able to block a charge lane with the Earthborn. And I was aware of him making this, that was his intention, but I had believed that we realized that because he wanted to keep out of my range of the other two Maulers, that he actually pushed himself out of the being able to block the Earthborn from being able to get to him. So I know that we had a little bit of a consideration going back and forth talking about trying to figure out what we were going to do, because while I understood that that was his intention, Gaston did in fact move his book out of the way. So as you can see here, we're measuring because he wanted to keep himself outside of the 9, which is exactly what we were doing. Now, because of that, we were able to, we basically figured that it had kind of worked that way, but because he had made it very clear, and because this was a friendly game, we decided that, you know, I did agree that that was his intention, and he did make it very clear. And whether or not models were bumped or whatever, which, you know, might have or may not have happened, we decided to play it that way, as if the Earthborn could not get into Reznik because of the book. Because, as he said, he would have moved the book up a little bit farther to block that if he had known, but, you know, then he might have been in charge range of the Maulers. So it was just too far into the game to really cause any issues. So here you see, I, put Janissa up in this area, and I'm going to try and make a damage throw with her, but it ends up just not really being able to work because of the distance. So I move it back, because at this point I'm not able to get in to where I need to, because while if I had been able to get the charge vector with the Earthborn, I would have been able to get in with 3 or 4 hits onto Reznik, where because of the book and because we played it the way we did, I was only able to get 1 into Reznik instead, which, you know, it's unfortunate, and, you know, I was kind of using my Earthborn as my trump card, but, you know, that's how the games go, and sometimes that stuff happens. So, as I said, I was able to put some damage into Reznik and just kind of worry him a little bit more. And one thing that I can definitely say about Reznik2 is it was very demeaning to me to basically sit there and try and figure out what I was going to do, and basically have everything just out of range. And sometimes that's a benefit of pre-measurement, and sometimes it's a, an issue. And in this game, on my side of the table, it was an issue because he was able to measure everything perfectly and keep everything right outside of my range. So here with the bouncer, I am trying to move, I'm trying to put him in such a spot that that he's basically going to block his two other heavies, because while I may have just given him my Earthborn after doing some damage, I'm not trying to hand him the rest.
I think we can safely say that did not go as I anticipated, but Reznik did not die, so everybody's a winner. Now we just gotta figure out what to do next. So all of my Flesh's weeks have expired, but we're going to, he's still clumping up his beasts, and I can't help myself, I'm gonna have to cast it again. It's what I do, and we're just gonna kind of punish him for that. Otherwise, I have to, looks like, kill an Earthborn who is standing next to an Igloo, which is very unfriendly, and a Mountain King as well. So, acquire chance battle, we load up the Templar, and then allocate the rest of the focus, and Devin gets his head in the way, and starts dropping whelps. So Templar goes in, he, beat, and I think he leaves the Mountain King on something like 12 health, something like that. So the Redeemer shots actually really helped out here, because it leaves the Mountain King in such a position that it's actually reasonably killable by the Vessel of Acceptance. And obviously the Vessel is going to help clear out the whelps at the same time as damaging him and making more whelps. So the Vessel is just going to aim, he's going to shoot, he's going to hurt himself, boost a couple times, and the Vessel will actually, on the dot, kill off the Mountain King. So that just went extremely well. Very, very happy about that. It'll leave like a whelp or two. Not a big deal. Then we're going to turn our attention downwards to where we got Reznik and this meddlesome Earthborn Dire Troll. So one of the things that he did was he put Fury onto the Earthborn. And the Scourge of Heresy has Purgation, and happens to be a POW 20 on the sword. So I'm relatively certain, I'm betting my caster's life on it, that Scourge of Heresy can go through that Earthborn kind of like butter. The other thing is we're looking to have a little bit of focus left over to again do any arcane vortexes that Doomshaper might have coming my way. So he just kill, chop, chop, chop. He does spawn some whelps off of it. I think he had one left out of the unit that he bought. And bye-bye, Earthborn Dire Troll. So next up, I'm just trying to see if I can also kill off the Bouncer with the Templar and not be engageable by his two heavies. I cannot, is the answer. So we're just kind of go in. The Templar has, I think, only 2 focus on him, and Reznik really needs his focus there in order to cast Flesh is Weak. So we're just going to basically be risking it. I don't really want to curse on the Bouncer, because if I miss his Flesh of Weak, I'm dead. So I go ahead and I curse on his heavies. I pop them both with Flesh is Weak. They don't have the feet anymore to help them out, so like they're really kind of hosed. Then again, that's my flag. We're staying on that flag. Then Reznik himself, he's going to actually scoot on over, and he's going to attack a whelp, because I need to do these things. I think he actually misses his first swing and he buys a second swing, because we need to do these things. Realistically, I should have just camped the focus. So, but by doing that, he is able to move the Scourge of Heresy up forward, which is kind of the whole purpose of why I did that. And that gets him into a better position for next turn and a better position for Arcane Vortex. Then we've got the Vassal. I guess I did go ahead and enliven and fill up the Templar. So, no curse, but lots of risking. And then the mechanics are going to come, and they are just going to do an awful job repairing Reznik. But, you know, I'll take what you can get. Then otherwise we have Tristan. He's trying to come forward. He's not really going to be able to accomplish much. And then Rhoven and company are also coming. One of the things I don't want is for Janissa to come in. I believe she has armor piercing, if memory serves me correctly, and attack me when I'm down to, 14 health. So then the Templar goes in. He's just going to wail on away. I'm not going to be back because I don't want to get any closer to his heavies. Already in range of 1. And he is going to, I believe on the last attack, actually kill off the bouncer. So played a little risky there, but was able to get away with it. So, whew. Otherwise we were just grinding this game out.
So turn 3. So I knew I was going to lose the Earthborn. That sucked, but I wish I could have used him in a better way, but it didn't work, so I lost him, but, I'm not down and out of this fight yet. To add injury to insult, or insult to injury, Gaston was able to move his mechanics up and heal Reznik up a little bit, which caused a little bit of an issue for me and kind of pissed me off, because, I worked so hard to put that damage on him, and here it goes, just getting removed, and only the battle engine casters seem to be able to get to have that happen for them. So that was definitely very difficult to watch. Those small boxes get checked away that I worked so hard to apply. So I am up in points, but I know that's, with having possibly 6 models on the table, that's not going to stay that way for long. My only real goal right now is I've just got to do as much damage as possible, and hopefully just kind of drag out the game, and if I can get the damage where I need the damage, I can win that way. So right now I kind of go into the think tank trying to realize what I'm going to do. I know that I had attacked on the other side with Janissa and removed one of his guys and then Battle Wizard some damage into Reznik. Just plinking away at him. I've got to do whatever I can. So right here, I'm trying to basically figure out what I can do and where I can get to in order to apply the damage I need to. Like, I'm just trying to get anything I can into there, because if I can, basically keep him on his side of the board and just keep grabbing stuff, then I'm, that's all it really needs to happen. So I'm not 100% sure what's going on right now. I'm definitely, oh yeah, so here I am going into his Jack, just trying to get rid of it. I'm already behind on the, peace trade, but, I've got to keep myself in the game by just doing what I can when I can, and being able to get my beasts up close enough that I'm then able to use Primal Shock and do the damage that way, which would have been a lot better if I had had the Mountain King still on the table, since he's got a strength 15 compared to the base strength 12 of the Maulers, but it's what I had to work with, so that's what I was going for. So I know as I'm rolling here, there was like 1 or 2 hits that didn't do so well, and then I know I spiked one, which, put me up a little bit. So as you can see, Reznik's damage boxes are filling up, and right there was the spike that I hit, and I just toasted him with a ton of damage.
So Reznik is still alive. I don't know why I keep putting him in danger, but that's my MO with him apparently, based on the last 2 videos. So the Templar actually is pretty okay. I don't think he actually knocked anything out on it. It's been a while since this game. So we're just gonna, bring that on up, but the The Mauler has Rage on it, and Scourge of Heresy has Purgation, so we're just going to make that happen. It went pretty good on the Earthborn, so I feel like it'll go pretty good here too. At that point, we're just going to have the Templar Boundless Charge into his other Mauler in the back, and hopefully clear that out as well. So we got the Vessel of Judgment. He goes and pushes Janissa back, and shoots her, and kills her, and is not in range of anything else. So he is settled with that. The Mechanic's going to come on up. I'm going to repair Reznik. The Templar is going to just run and get into threatening range of basically everything. Scourge of Heresy will activate. He's going to come and kill himself another heavy. Scourge of Heresy did a lot of work this game. Very proud of him. Otherwise, Rhoven is going to be necessary in order to grab the top zone to work on scenario. I've got a Mechanic coming in, and he's going to repair up anything on the Templar that may have been damaged. And we'll have the Hierophant, Harmonious Exaltation, Choir. I actually remembered to chant Battle, so I guess Scourge killed him without Battle. Oops. They're better than me. Reznik will throw a Boundless Charge onto the Templar, and then heal himself, and then camp a little bit. With any luck, this will kind of take away any of Doomshaper's abilities to actually kill Reznik between the Arcane Vortex and the ability to overboost. So the Templar goes in, Boundless Charge, Battle. He swings. He does a little beat back, just, you know, to be cute. And then kills off the Mauler. Otherwise, just lots of running. We're setting up Tristan to take over Reznik's flag for scenario.
Well, that hurt. That absolutely stunk. So I get Reznik within 4 boxes of death, and once again his mechanics come up and, you know, get rid of all my hard-earned damage, which, you know, infuriates me because had he not had the mechanics heal him last turn, you know, I would have killed him. But, you know, that's just good, damn good plays on Gaston's part. So here I am right now trying to figure out what I can do, because I lost both of my Maulers this last turn. Once again, them not being able to charge and stuff really impeded me and really kind of kept me on this side of the board. Something I definitely learned was to split them up, so I could have used them a little bit more. But I just decide, you know, screw it. I'm going to get the old man in there himself, and he's going to do whatever he can to get stuff done, you know, because what the hell, you know? Doomy always has to sit in the back rows, and he's got nothing in front of him, so, you know, let the old man work. So I'm just trying to contemplate what I'm going to do at this point. I realize that I'm probably completely and utterly boned, but, I mean, there's been some crazy stuff that's happened in this game, so maybe, you know, the Krampus of Christmas, Doomy2, will be able to, you know, pop his bah humbug out and, you know, end Reznik's jolly holiday. So I'm doing a ton of measuring, trying to figure out what I can and can't do, and basically I end up realizing that I'm not really able to do too much due to some line of sight issues. I was hoping to get the Runebearer up to basically throw some damage into Reznik and then also have Doomy, but, you know, I wasn't able to. So right here I'm just kind of throwing whatever I can in to just do whatever might come. That was all I could really do. So we decided to let me just kind of go through the last turn. At that point, Gaston just ended his turn and scored the last 2 points he needed. He decided he wasn't just going to beat the hell out of the old man, just kind of let him walk away after, you know, trying to do whatever he can. So definitely during this game, I learned a lot about Reznik2, which I believe was super important because I had never fought him before. and I definitely saw a lot of his strengths. One thing I will definitely give myself credit for is that I definitely believe that I chose the right list into this battle out of my 2 available, and if I had to play this again, I would use the same exact list. One thing I do need to remember though is was the maybe split up my stone a little bit more. His blast damage was able to take out that entire unit before I was able to use it, and that caused a lot of issues early game. And basically, that's it. So happy holidays from everybody at the Advanced Maneuvers team.